Welcome. You are at the CCC.
Where there are no outside issues. Hi, my name is Bonnie Violet. I'm a trans femme, genderqueer, spiritual drag artist, digital chaplain, and person in recovery.
My name is Anthony. I'm a 7th-year doctoral student in clinical psych. I just had a delicious, a London fog.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah, they're delicious. And I care about you.
Absolutely. And I'm Lulu, and my pronouns are he and him. I am a former Miss Castro Country Club. I live in the Castro area.
What?
I thought it was the DeBose Triangle. I am in recovery from alcohol and crystal meth, and I am always in search of balance.
And each week we provide and create a brave space where we engage in conversations around topics of recovery.
Yes, and our intention is to hold and inspire better spaces for those people in recovery.
By tackling topics sometimes used to separate us.
But before we do that, like, subscribe, ding that bell, comment. Wait.
Share.
Ding that bell.
Ding.
Share.
Oh, and share. So comment, like, subscribe, share, and ding that bell.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, send us prayers.
A disclaimer.
Definitely send us prayers.
Send out. And thank you, Bonnie Violet. And we have our new thing. Okay, ready? The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed on at the CCC are ours alone. We do not represent anyone but ourselves. The material and information shared here is for general information purposes only. In other words, we are just friends having a kiki and here to entertain you.
So does that mean I'm responsible for your guys' crap too? I'm just teasing.
Oh no, should I put a footnote in here?
I'm totally teasing.
Okay. So how is everyone?
Cute. How are you?
Pretty good.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty good. Yeah, I'm pretty good. This has been a pretty good week.
Yeah.
Wait, it's Tuesday. Oh, it's been a pretty good week so far.
Well, since we last saw each other.
Since we last saw each other, yeah.
Yeah, so since we last saw you, the viewer, a listener.
The list. How about you, Bonnie Violet? What's up?
I'm good. I officially moved to Boise today.
Yeah.
So I'm in my new place. You can say I put up a lot of
I love that. It's very minimalist.
Yeah. It's a blank canvas.
Yes.
It's very circa 1990s.
She has to start somewhere, you know.
We'll have a new segment on here. What's different about Bonnie's surroundings?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It would be more like, what is the same?
What is the same?
Be
with
more of
Bonnie
a challenge.
Violet?
Yeah, exactly.
That's so cool. How are you feeling now that you're in your own place?
Good. It's a little surreal still. I'm excited to be living with another sober person, trans person, and drag queen. So I think that's going to be really great.
That makes a world of difference. Yeah.
It does make a lot of difference. How about you? Go ahead. What were you going to say something about it?
No, I just was saying, yep. I'm nervous about living in Idaho in general, but I'm grateful to be where I'm at.
Yeah. I've been sharing, it's like I did a Lewis agenda earlier. I am doing this thing because I know I've talked about this before. I don't want anybody in my space. I like my space. And unfortunately, when you do that, it can get out of hand where I'm not saying I'm living in squalor. I was living in squalor, but it can get really relaxed. So I've decided to try a new thing, especially after going over to a friend's where his place was, in my opinion, immaculate. I'm treating my place like I'm always expecting guests.
Company, yeah.
Yeah, so that I can, because it makes a difference in my personal feelings of how I feel, like when everything is clean and organized. And, I've been purging, and so I feel really good.
I do something like that at my place. I don't think about having guests over, but I think about future Anthony. And so I'll think like, oh, is this fair to future Anthony? Like if I leave a bunch of things on the floor, I'm like, is he going to be okay with this?
I actually like that. I think that probably would.
Adorable.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. I'm like, I'm going to be nice to future Anthony.
Because that's how I am with comparing myself. I'm not trying to compare myself to anybody else. Just who was Lewis this time last year and the year before?
Yeah.
And that way, like I'm just, in a loving way, I'm competing with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What competition?
No, I'm the competition is can we get better? Can we be better than we were?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always growing.
Yeah, exactly.
Always growing. I am doing well. I like your comparing yourself to last year. I've been doing a lot of that recently just because oh God, very long story short, like y'all all know that I was like working on my dissertation proposal, and then I had to give myself an extra year because I just feel like I wasn't putting out like quality work or like working optimally. And so things are getting done. I've taken a lot of things off of my plate. I'm getting more comfortable with, occasionally I'll say yes to social things that I will later have to say, actually, I can't do that this time around.
You're a prerogative. You're that kind of woman.
Yeah, I'm that kind of lady. And so there was that. And then yesterday I got this email. So the gay soccer league, the gay games are going to be in Guadalajara, and they have practices coming up and all this other stuff.
Guadalajara.
But the gay games are coming up, and I literally I had to text a bunch of like people that I trust, and I was like, I shouldn't be registering for this stuff. I shouldn't be adding something onto my roster or like my schedule because I am that lady. I'm trying to be responsible.
For those of y'all listening, it's like you get to think Anthony being that lady. That's why he's not disappearing because he's signing up for everything.
Yeah, I'm saying no more often.
I love that.
I'm saying more often.
I was looking at us and we look like bookends, like opposites.
Yeah. Do we look like opposites?
Well, you got glasses. I don't. You're white. I'm black.
What's funny? When people have met me in person that I've only seen us online, they go, "Oh, well, you're a lot darker in person than I thought you were going to be."
It's like, and you don't know how to take that.
It's the lighting.
What?
Yeah.
It's the glare off, Bonnie.
You should throw me under the bus and tell him the reason. Trust me, the lighting is very iffy because Louis sucks it all up.
We should probably, what's the word I'm not looking for? We should
move on.
Talk about today's topic. We should get to today's topic. So today's topic, I felt like, what's her name? Alyssa Edwards, because she does it. She goes, fun fact, if we're ever playing like Jeopardy, Alyssa Edwards is one of my top 3 favorite drag queens of all time. Is that controversial?
No, but I mean, it's like, what does that have to do with Jeopardy?
What's that do with Jeopardy?
Well, because they're like, oh, what are Brandon like trivia? Okay, maybe it's not Jeopardy. Y'all are something else. The point is that I was sharing a fun fact if ever you needed it.
Well, I think we both responded the same way, so maybe it has more to do with your communication than it does with our
or your lack of understanding.
Oh, it could be. And maybe you don't know the room.
Maybe the room doesn't know me.
Wow.
So
and now we're gonna transition.
Let me. You know what? Let's change this to all the things I don't like about you.
Keep coming back.
So let's. You're gonna make me go out. So,
girl,
go out to a restaurant and have a nice meal. Oh, all right. So let's talk about today's topic. Today's topic is morning, evening routines, or just routines in general, right? And the reason why this is a topic today is because one of the things that is often talked about in recovery is the importance of having routines. A common one that you'll hear people say is you should make your bed every morning, right? Or you should make your gratitude list at night. So today we're going to be talking about different routines that have worked for us, maybe routines that we've heard other people talk about for people listening at home. As usual, you're always welcome to chime in. Let us know some things that work for you, that don't work for you. And when we're thinking about routines, you don't just have to think about like the kind of concrete ones, morning, evening, or anything like that. But maybe you have routines in like your social settings. Like for example, some people, when they go out to a place, one of the routines they have is like, I know that I'm probably only going to be there for an hour, or I'm going to check in with myself, or I'm going to go to the bathroom, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to do just all this other stuff. So today's conversation is about routines.
Another way to refer to it is rituals.
Or rituals. Rituals and routines.
Yeah, rituals and routines.
And routines.
And routines.
Routines.
I'm curious to know, what are your rituals or your routines? Anthony.
Me?
Yes.
Well,
he taps the door. He has to tap every surface 5 times.
I have to. Whenever I take one step forward, I have to take 3 steps back, and then I do a little shimmy, and then I walk.
I don't mean to make light of anyone who's obsessive compulsive. But.
Yeah. I certainly. So, oh wow, that was deep. Because I used to have like obsessive compulsive things, and like one of the things that I used to do is check the doorknob before I went to bed. Mm-hmm. So I literally would go, this is it's not like this anymore. I haven't done it anymore, but I would check the doorknobs and all my windows 3 times before I went to bed. I would like check, lie down. Did I do it? Go back up, do it again, lie down. Wait, did I do it? And then I do it. So like 3 times. But routines and rituals. So maybe kind of the first ones that come to my mind is I try to make my bed every morning. What's really interesting about making my bed every morning is the process in which I've gone through in order to get to making my bed in a way that's healthy. So there used to be a time where like, if I didn't make my bed in a very specific way, like I'd get really mad at myself. I'm like, Anthony, you should have pulled out the mattress, because my bed is against a wall. So I'm like, Anthony, you should have pulled out the mattress so that you could have tucked the blanket in the sides and blah, blah, blah. And so I would get into this thing, because if I didn't do it perfectly, I'd be really anxious and upset throughout the day, not because of OCD, but because I'm like, oh, that was like your one chance to do something perfectly. It's sick. So now I've gotten to a point where it's like, no, maybe I don't have to fold my sheets in like this all the time. Sometimes I just take it and like, I'll do one quick swipe and then I'll pull it over and then I'll put my pillows up. And that's just like a way of like kind of starting my day. I do try to incorporate morning meditation and prayer. I've gotten similar to my bed. I found ways of doing that in a way that I'm not harming myself. That's one of the things that my sponsors have told me, is that, you know, like these things that we do them to better ourselves. They shouldn't be causing us stress or anxiety. Absolutely. And so whenever something causes me stress and anxiety, I like to think that that's my like addiction being cunning, baffling, and powerful. It's like, it's taking this perfectly good thing and like turning it to something that I'm like using against myself. Right. So for with prayer and meditation, I used to think, for example, when I would meditate in the morning, I'm like, I must sit in this part of the room and I must look in this direction and I must sit here for 5 minutes. And I'm like, it was just kind of wild. And so now I've gotten to a point where I was like, no, God doesn't always need me to be kneeling to pray. Like I can walk or I can pray at the gym, or my meditation doesn't have to be like, I don't have to turn my music off in order to meditate. I can keep my music on to meditate. So those are some of like my morning ones. Mm-hmm. And then feeding my cat. I always feed my cat in the morning. So
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not just out of necessity, but I guess out of necessity, but also because I love like, I'm just thinking about this now, but he wakes me up at the same time every day.
Oh, speaking of, Anthony did an Instagram reel.
Oh, I did. It was my first. Well, it was one that I actually created.
I saw that. Yeah. I thought it was wonderful.
Yeah, he's my cat.
And you're like, baby steps. It was perfect.
My baby steps. Yeah, that's because one day I was, you saw it go down.
Yeah.
My cat's so sweet.
So
those are some of mine.
I'm like you. It's like, okay, so I wake up, and I have been fortunate enough to wake up, like I always wake up before my alarm goes off. Mm-hmm. But one of my OCD type things is like, I ask Alexa to set my alarm, and sometimes I will set it on my phone, because even though I wake up all the time and I'm up and everything, I always have this fear like I'm going to be late. You know, like it used to be, like my alarm, something's not going to go off or whatever. So I ask Alexa a few times, Alexa, what time did I set the alarm for? And she tells me, and we're all good. I like to make up my bed, and I'm like you. We were talking about this whole Virgo thing, but sometimes it's not enough just to pull the covers over. Sometimes, like yesterday morning, I actually got up and I changed the sheets. I did everything, and I tucked. But there's something nice about when I come in, because the bed is the focal point of my studio. Mm. And so when I come in, if it doesn't look right, this is terrible. But I always say, thank you, God. I just say, thank you, God. I don't have a thought out like prayer process or even like meditation, because where I'm at with meditation is sometimes it's just listening. Then I listen to, I ask Alexa to play either, I have a few people that I go to, either Beyonce's new album, Yolanda Adams, or Tamia. And I will listen to those while I'm moving around. I also, routine, I will check emails or whatever and my TikToks, and then get in the shower. And then something that I do all the time, like, today, I texted earlier with my sponsor, but when I'm walking down the stairs, I use that time to call my sponsor. And I check in and tell my sponsor what my what my plans are for the day, if I'm going to work, if I'm going to hit a meeting, what's happening, do I need you to call me back or whatever. So it makes it easy to call. And then I do a TikTok or the Lewis agenda while I'm walking to work, and it's nice. And those are my morning routines. I love the consistency of them. It's really tough on my days off because I'm super lazy, but I try to get up and keep it up.
How about you, Bonnie Violet?
Oh, and I send a gratitude list.
Or gratitude list.
I send a gratitude list.
Okay.
But ideally I'll
You're really consistent about that.
Yeah, ideally
actually.
I send it before I get to work or right after I get to work, but I usually try to send it and that was the thing. I'll wrap it up. That was the thing, like the gratitude list has been challenging at times because at times it felt like work.
Yeah.
Because I want to, and then other times I really enjoy doing it. So I've been trying to be very mindful, very thoughtful about like, what am I grateful for? So some days it'll be longer and thought out, and some days it'll just be like, bitch, I didn't drink last night.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really have any right now. I've been I think with being, and this, I feel like it's kind of been an excuse, but because I've kind of in a new place so often and like the time changes and everything like that, I feel like I haven't really gotten into too much of like a routine. When I was in DC for like 3 weeks straight, I was able to kind of like get in a routine there about getting up around the same time, making coffee, doing some journaling, which felt really nice to do. That's something I've always thought was a good idea and never really did it. And I did it for like 10 days straight or something like that. And then I haven't done it again, but it was kind of nice for the moment. I'm actually eager to kind of start doing some of that stuff because especially like I think trying to incorporate prayer and meditation into the morning routine, because that's something that I don't do well, but I feel like people who do seem to carry themselves around in the world in a way that I think is kind of cute.
Wait, can you say what is it cute? What's cute? What's cute?
People who like incorporate prayer and meditation.
Oh, I was like, no, I was, but I was like, wait, how did she get to cute? And I was like, oh, it's an assessment of people doing prayer and meditation.
Yeah,
That's
I
cute.
just feel like there's a certain serenity often that it seems like people have, or a groundedness, I think. Maybe a groundedness more than anything, because they're not always serene. But
do you all have this thing? Okay, so I'll be listening and I'll be to somebody, especially folks with longer time, or not even longer time, but who seem to have a serenity, a spirituality, whatever, and they will talk about what their patterns are, like with meditation.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh my God, when am I going to get this? And I was thinking about what you were saying, because it's like now that you're settled, you can start establishing your patterns. And I think that for anybody listening who might be feeling inadequate or not, like, as together or whatever, it's like you can start today. You can start tomorrow. You can try things, and those things might not last, and you can try other things. Because I heard someone else say, it's like, I'm only sober as long as I've been up today. Like I'm only
that was our last meeting we went to on Friday.
Yeah, exactly. I heard
that was
It's
so
like,
good.
It was right on point. It's like
Yeah.
I don't get to rest on yesterday's recovery. And because I'm growing and changing constantly, what I need today might be different than what I need tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so whatever your practices are, and you may not think you have practices, but I bet you do. And we all do. It's like we're creatures of habit.
Yeah. It's interesting because at once I'm thinking about how it's important to be, for me, I don't know if this works for everyone, I have to be flexible with myself around things because I can become kind of militant and then they can be distressing. But I certainly know people who have like nope, this particular thing must get done at this time at all times, regardless of what's happening. And I don't have anything like that, I think, in my life.
Yeah.
Except for maybe breathing, eating, or sleeping.
Yeah. Well, and have you been in relationship with people who are that way? Because I find it can be sometimes hard. Like there's that rigidity that sometimes
you're
can
right.
make it seem like there's not space for you in that. You know what I mean? Which is fine, but
Yes, I have so many spiritual experiences listening to you sometimes, Bonnie Violet. There was this, well, I'll tell you why.
Yes, and.
Yes, and because on my second year of graduate school, like I was beating myself up because I was surrounded by a lot of people who were like non-expressive, which is really popular in psych graduate programs because everyone wants to be a psychoanalyst and like the kind of blank stoic look is like a thing. And I'm just not like that. You know, I guess anyway. So
Whoa, what?
I'm not
Wait,
blank.
you're not okay.
I'm not blank.
You're not. But you definitely like. I think that maybe compared to
relative to the rest of the population,
it's
I am a little. I know.
But when you come next to somebody who can't, like, I have a face where I can't hide anything.
I guess.
Okay.
No, you're 100% right. Jesus, I don't even know what I was talking about since you made it about you.
Oh,
I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding. It wasn't about you. No, what I was thinking. So, yes, and so there are people who, for example, they just would not emote, or like they would not. Or they would, you know what it was? Unfazed by everything. Like the house is burning down, unfazed. At least that was like the way they would present. And I don't even, I doubt that's like the way they are, right? And so I remember we had this thing called we have case conferencing, which is basically where you talk about different cases, right? And thank you, Jaylon. Jaylon's giving me the act of listening off camera. So we would talk about these cases, and people would be so stoic and so cold. And I remember getting so fucking frustrated because I'm like, are we really sitting here with no feelings? Like, and I remember telling my case conference leader, I wish I could be that way. And she said, but you're not that way. She's like, you wouldn't be yourself if you were that way. And I was reminded of that story because Bonnie Violet was saying, well, have you ever been around people who are actually that rigid? Right. And I think for me, it's really easy for me to think, well, like to imagine what a person's life must be like. You know, when I see them and they're behaving in a certain way, or like, oh, look at this person. They always eat the same way. They always sit the same way. And to have an imagination.
Look at that bitch eating that chicken.
Yeah.
Right. I was just listening to Glennon Doyle. Are you familiar with that podcast?
Sounds
I Can Do Hard Things. She's a lesbian who has a podcast with her wife and her sister. And they were talking a little bit about this and this idea of like, having to I think it was kind of maybe around control and stuff, but having to like have this rigidity of having to do something, or like creating all these rules to get to something else, or like and so I kind of was sensing a little bit of that. It's like that frenetic energy of like, or that control aspect, which I think sometimes can be interesting being in recovery, because you go from a space of like coming to understand your powerlessness and then kind of coming to rely on a higher power. And I think sometimes that can be, I don't know, that can feel a little bit weird. I know we have a question or something. I thought I saw something come up.
Let's see. Anka, is that a new picture?
Anka. I love that
it.
Picture. Hi, Anka. You know what? For anybody listening, you know what I really appreciate about you, Anka? It's like you always brighten my day. You are so consistent, and you come up and you make me feel special. And like I really appreciate it about you. And if I don't say it enough, I'm saying it.
You're simply wonderful. All right, should we read this?
Yeah.
Anka writes, I send a gratitude list nightly to 8 people, and in the morning, part of my routine is to read everyone else's list. Also, my dog, Jake, and my cat, Phyllis, keep me on point in the mornings. Our routine is like a little ritual, and it comforts me that it's the same every morning when the rest of my day can be unpredictable and chaotic.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Anka.
And I think that, like, to what you were saying, Buddy, I think that, like, we are creatures of chaos.
Yes.
And so structure is necessary. And it may, to someone looking outside, seem kind of rigid and whatever. But sometimes I need the structure. I need those things in place. I think from as early as being young kids, how they look, they want structure and they rebel when they don't have it. It's like having these things in place kind of allow me safety, security, because this is the type Virgo that I am. I need to know what's around the corner. I don't like surprises. I don't like surprises. I like surprises, like fun, good surprises. But I need to, and so having my routines, having my patterns that, they give me that sense of security.
I just did something really stupid. So you know why I put it over here? So whenever I burp, I take my face off screen. So I'll like over here and I'll burp. And so I put the microphone off the table over here and pulled this down because I didn't want anyone to hear it, but the microphone captures this.
Is he okay? Like, you need to check his pulse or something. Like, is he all right?
Today's just been.
It's moments like this that I appreciate because I think that sometimes you like I appreciate you being silly. I love it.
That was.
These moments of levity, like they are necessary.
I can't believe I just did that. I'm sorry. Did I interrupt someone?
No.
Sorry.
No.
I think just yourself.
Yes,
I interrupted myself. So if anyone's listening at home and has anything else they want to contribute with respect to routines and rituals, please let us know. Jaylon's in the studio.
I know,
Jaylon's in the studio. Jaylon is sitting next to Brandon.
I know. I love this.
Jaylon, do you have a routine or ritual you want to share with us? We can come back to you. You can think about it. We'll come back to you. So
like pull your phone out. And
I learned a new ritual that a new routine ritual thing that I've been using. So I learned this from my therapist. So she said, like, when I'm listening to, okay, so you know how when we say, like, when we're talking to people, we should, we should ask ourselves, like, why am I talking? Is this kind? Is this necessary? Does it need to be said by me? Is it helpful? Right. And so she's like, Anthony, that's one way of kind of like talking to people, but it's also a way to listen. So if like you're talking to people and you're listening, like asking myself, is this kind? Is this necessary? Is it helpful? Right. And if it doesn't pass that like test, then I can filter it out. Right. Mm-hmm. And the reason why that came up in therapy was because, sometimes people say mean things, and whether they mean to or not, but sometimes people can say like some really like out of pocket stuff. And I noticed I just listened so closely and I'm like, wait a minute, I need a way to learn how to filter what I'm listening when it comes to people. Right. Like, if there's a professional I feel like I struggle the most with interpersonal stuff, like when there isn't a frame to put something in, right? Whose phone is that? Is that your phone? Everyone at home, Lewis knows that we are on at 4:00.
4-ish.
4-ish. But so I struggle the most with interpersonal relationships when there isn't a container to hold the relationship in, right? So dating can be difficult for me. Romantic situations can be difficult for me. Social situations can be difficult for me, right? Like I can have a friend and I'm like, is it okay for my friend to say that thing to me? Or is it, Yeah. And so, that's been something that's been really helpful for me. I think it's saved me a lot of, grief. I've only been doing it for a couple of weeks though.
No, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's a very good thing.
Yeah. Do either one what?
What's that?
Do either one of you have like kind of systems or ways of thinking of people or of like being in the world?
Well, I've been talking about this a bunch at work and how I'm showing up and not giving, like having to actively make sure that I'm not giving people my negativity and trying to change how I view how other people are showing up, because obviously I'm the scale that I'm comparing you or I'm using as a model to determine how worthy you are is scale that is for me. I can't judge you based on how I might judge myself or hold you to the standards that I might hold myself. And so it has been a process, and it really has changed how I'm at work. Like I have more opportunities where I go to work and I really enjoy being there.
I love that.
And it's been, but it's a process, and it's taken some time, and but I really feel like the thing that's helped me the most is being accountable, telling people this is what I'm doing. Call me out when it happens. Like, cause I think that, those times when I'm like wanting to make change, but this is my personal journey and I'm not telling you anything about it. It gives me an out.
Wait, what? Can you say that last part? That's interesting. Sorry, Bunny Violet, you were going to say something?
No, I was just saying, yeah.
What do you mean by that last? That sounds really interesting.
So if it's something that I'm wanting to change,
Okay.
but I'm not going to tell you about it because I don't want to be held responsible. Like I'm gonna quit smoking, but I'm gonna do it on my own. I'm doing it on not talk to you, so that if you see me with a cigarette, you're not going to say, "I thought you said you were going to quit smoking." It's kind of like when I was supposed to get sober, and I told all my friends, like we do, "I'm going to rehab. I'm going to rehab." And every time they saw me out drinking or carrying on, I thought you were going to rehab. Mind your business, okay? I'm a grown ass man. Anyway. Yeah, so no.
That's so funny. Steve Harvey has like the opposite advice. Like Steve Harvey, not that he's like someone who we should, nor here nor there, but Steve Harvey said, well, I guess what I'm getting at is that for every idea, there's always someone somewhere that has like the opposite idea, but with the same idea of it functioning the same way. It's interesting. Anyway, so Steve Harvey says that we should, like when we want to do things, that we should hustle in private.
Well,
right?
It depends on what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, because there are some things that like create on the creative end.
Yeah.
Like if I'm doing something, I have friends who have a tendency referring to something as your little project. You know how like if they don't understand or they don't believe in it, a lot of times that can really kind of deter. Like when I was hosting Mascara and folks would come and say, "Should I do this? No, I want you to." I remember telling you, Bonnie, like do what you're going to do, because what I realize is like, even if I'm not responding, that's a response. And if a person is not certain or uncomfortable or insecure about choices that they might be making, that can affect how they move forward. And so I support that. Sometimes there are things where it's like, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it because I'm inspired to do it and deal with the fallout later. But if I go to somebody who I trust or who I believe, who I trust is going to give me good information, and I say, maybe you shouldn't do it based on their experience, that's a problem.
Yeah. So there's before we get to the comment, there's a study, I remember this. There was a study that said that we shouldn't share our goals before we've started to act on them. And there was a few reasons why they said it. They said, do you want to hear them? Mm-hmm. Okay, so
you're going to tell us.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you because we're on air. So reason number one is receiving premature praise for a goal makes follow through less likely. When you're like, I'm going to do this thing, right? So also, I should probably credit the scientists, but we'll go back. So that's one of them. The second reason is like receiving person praise versus process praise could decrease your motivation. Like, oh, you're so great at those things, and then if you're a beginner, getting negative feedback could stop you, right? Like. That really messes with me when someone is using their own restrictions to kind of like give you advice. They're like, oh, well,
and we do that sometimes without even knowing that we're doing it. It's just kind of natural. Yeah.
Accountability doesn't always work. That's per science, not me. Hearing about competition might make you back off. And those are the ones I found.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think like with anything, just the wisdom comes when there's not a one size fits all with everything.
Absolutely.
I think there are moments when you might need to tell on yourself so that you have accountability and maybe use your own ego and your own like fear of what people think about you in order to get good results. And other times you need to like keep it to yourself because you need to build that confidence or whatever. And I think it can change from situation to situation, from person to person. I think sometimes, we get so rigid in one way or the other. I think that's when we start to potentially rob ourselves of the freedom and or maybe the gifts of something new that could come from that. Yeah. We have a ton of like comments, I think.
Let's hear them.
Let's hear the comments. Yay, comments.
Benji!
Oh, I love it. So
my
ritual is the third step prayer. When I wake up and before I go to bed, I make sure to pause until I feel conscious contact with God before proceeding so that I'm not just racing through the words.
Love that.
I love that.
Also,
go ahead.
Also, Benji writes, I try to go to the same meetings every week. They feel like the pillars that hold my week and my mood up. Thank you very much, Benji.
Oh, we love you, Benji. Thank you for listening. Actually, he sent me a text. He caught my comment. Look at that bitch eating that chicken.
That's a callback to the drag show, right?
And our fabulous Jaylon.
Jaylon from within the studio writes, I go to a 7:30 a.m. morning meditation meeting online Monday through Friday to ground me for the day. Day has the opportunity to try. Oh, because the day has the opportunity to try me. LOL. You know what they say? Meeting makers make it. annoyed voice. Plus, I make my bed and have been doing that consistently, as well as the infamous gratitude list, because a grateful addict doesn't go out. Again, annoyed
I get
voice.
Jaylon's gratitude list. Jaylon is like, you know what I find amazing? It's like,
What do you find amazing?
You know, when the student surpasses the teacher.
When the teacher becomes the master. We had more comments out there. Brett Thomas writes, reminding myself, quote, I am fine the way I am, end quote. All I am is a spirit in a human body. I fucking love that.
Absolutely. Even if I do mine.
I love that. Thank you, Brett.
You all are giving us.
Ooh, there's so much spirituality out there.
Yes,
it's giving me like shimmy energy.
Hey, this is a true conversation.
It is a true conversation. So we have 10 minutes left, unless Brandon is showing me how to count to 10. Brandon's like, these are my hands.
I do my nails.
These are my
Spirit fingers.
Spirit fingers.
So,
what?
Did we talk about like our nighttime routines?
Oh, I guess.
I know exactly.
Let's talk about nighttime routines.
Have to do a whole nother show.
Go.
I go to bed. No.
All right, next.
No, I go in and I brush my teeth. I have this serum that I put on my face. I do my little facial thing or whatever. I love to turn off the TV at night and hop into bed and fall into a TikTok. I like to look at my TikToks and what have you.
Brandon is nodding his head rigorously.
Yeah, it works for me. And the other thing that I do, just like I do in the morning when I thank God, is I thank God for the day. I like to think about the day. If I need to do a 10th step or if I need to do a review of the day, then I do it. But for the most part, that's it. And then I just try to get to bed at a reasonable time.
Very nice.
Yeah.
How about you, Bonnie Violet? Any evening routines?
I do, and it's a little, I don't know if it's a little embarrassing, but every night, and it's one thing I've been really good about is I sleep with a stuffed animal seahorse that I called Bonnie Violet, who's like my inner child. And
nice.
I give her a hug every night and I tell her that I love her and that we're okay and thank her and God. And then I cuddle with her, put her on my neck and go to bed. And it's interesting. I always want to say weird, but I started doing it about 3 or 4 years ago when I started having some trauma stuff coming up, and I found it very soothing and helpful. And I would recommend it. Like, it's weird, like it was weird when I first did it and I was like, this is crazy. Why am I doing this? But I did it. And I think I've missed one day in like almost 3 years. So
I love that. That's really cool.
Sleep sexy,
I was wondering
serene.
about that too. Sleep sexy, serene. It's like,
It says from the Castro Country Club. Is that Brandon?
Right. It is. But that used to be the way that I say goodnight.
Sleep sexy,
I love you. Sleep well. Get your beauty rest. I used to post it on Facebook every night before bed.
it was
And then now I just do it every now and again.
Can someone tell me what sleep sexy serene? What is that?
I was just telling you.
That's what that means?
Yeah.
Yes.
You
it's
would say
how
that to yourself.
Well, I put it out on Facebook. I started it like a decade or more ago, and I just said it's 3 S's, like saying goodnight, get your beauty rest, sleep well.
Oh,
And
so
then,
you would say that to people.
Yeah, it was really nice.
That's what I say. I have merch pillows that have sleep sexy serene on
I
them.
love that.
But yeah,
Humble
and
plug.
sometimes I'll throw in like another S. So I'll throw in like sweet, or if I would say San Francisco or Sally. I don't know. Sometimes I'll just throw in another S just cause
That's so cool. You're so innovative. I love that. I want a pillow that says that. Although I wouldn't show anyone.
just go to my website.
So you're evening rituals, my evening rituals. Well, so I'll move backward. So I cuddle with my cat late at night. So my cat and I have a routine where my cat normally is in like another room anyway, and I'll lie down. The second I lie down to go to bed, my cat will run up to the bed and then like jump right next to me, and then he'll do this circle because I sleep on my left side. He'll do this circle in front of me, and then he'll wait for me to grab him, and he'll be like little spoon, and then that's how we go to sleep. Oh. It's really, really sweet. I look forward to it all the time. I also, before I go to bed, I have a moment where I'm just lying in bed, and I really am just kind of like taking in how grateful I am to have an apartment, to have warm sheets, to feel safe. Like I try to really get into that headspace. Even if I'm not writing a gratitude list, I do make it a point to like have a moment of gratitude, let that stuff sink in. I think that started years ago because someone reminded me, you know, that one of the things that humans are wont to do is that if something bad happens to us, we'll like replay that shit in our heads over and over and over again sometimes. And so we can do the same thing with like good feelings, right? Or good ideas. And so that's one of the things I try to do before I go to bed is like I try to get myself into a headspace because that's, you know, I can take that into my dream world. Another evening routine. I try to always wash my face. I don't like going to bed like feeling like the day is still on my face. Washing my face is a big one.
Especially if you've done something.
What are you talking about, ma'am?
I know. Is Day the name of the person you're dating now?
Dave.
Day.
Oh, Day. No. The guy I'm dating now is not Dave. I mean, Day.
That would be cool. It's like I'm seeing where day takes me.
Yeah, I'm seeing where the day takes me.
Okay.
Brandon is now showing us he has 5 fingers. Anka writes, I love falling asleep to the sound of... Oh, I love Alan Watts. Giving his... She didn't say that. I said that. But she said, sound of Alan Watts giving his beatnik lectures on YouTube. Nothing like listening to dead people when you are drifting off to sleep. I love Alan Watts. Thank you, Anka.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Love Alan Watts. For folks at home, Alan Watts is like same school as like Ram Dass. Kind of... Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely.
I have no clue who he is. I thought maybe he was in a sitcom like in the 90s or something.
Like Dick Van Dyke or something. It's all like higher self stuff. It's all like it. I feel like Alan Watts' teachings or ideas are very aligned with 12-step. It's all about like higher power, like God, kind of a mystical sense of God and higher power, and like tapping into that like bigger self, all that kind of stuff. It's great stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have 3 minutes. How old are we? This much. What? So we have 3 minutes left.
I know. It's like
which people can see what he just did.
Yeah, exactly. Are we waiting for you?
I have the giggles.
Are we waiting for you to bring this up so we can...
What's
we can close out a little early.
Yeah.
We can. The Castro... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, seriously. The Castro Country Club is a safe and sober community center for all people and a refuge for the LGBTQ recovery community.
We provide programs and services that help people change their lives by supporting personal growth.
Our vision is... I knew you were going to do that shit. I knew you were going to do that shit. I knew it. If one of your routines is being an asshole. What do you have in your hand there, Bonnie Violet?
I would say, and one of yours is being a victim. It's just a light.
And one of yours is being a perpetrator. Our vision is to reduce the suffering of addiction by connecting people to community, opportunity, and support. You can find more information, including all the ways to contact us at www.castrocountryclub.org/podcast.
Yes, and tune in every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we go live in our Castro on our Castro Country Club Facebook and YouTube channels.
Find us wherever you listen to podcasts at the CCC.
Yes.
We did it.
Yep, and go to our website, right? Would that come up?
Yeah, that was
the first one.
Yeah, that was that one.
Oh, where was I?
No.
Between the two of you guys, I don't know who was paying attention less.
I just checked out like 3 minutes ago, I think.
Yeah, so you can find us all our contact information is on the Castro Country Club. I know, but I'm just reminding people. Maybe you're thinking about a time when we used to go through all of our addresses, and we don't do that anymore because it's listen.
Yeah, we don't do that.
Because now what we do is it's on the website because we want to save time so that we can do a little bit more talking at the end. Okay. Do a little bit of talking at the end. So, anything else before we? Oh, do we want to tell people about our like bonus feature, stuff?
Yeah, we should.
Oh, yeah.
So, should I tell them, or are you going to tell them?
Go ahead. When you listen on any of the sites where you listen to
I thought you were coming for me.
No, when you listen on any of the sites you listen to podcasts, you get a bonus 15 minutes of us continuing the conversation.
Right.
So
that you can only hear on the podcast.
yes, exactly.
Online.
Online, because we're going to
Online
sign
on
off
podcast.
soon.
Yeah. So what ends up happening is that once the camera stops rolling, we continue talking behind the scenes. And sometimes, girl, what is it?
And sometimes
What is it?
and
For
maybe
folks
like
at home
in about
who are
5
just listening,
in about 5 months you'll
she-
be able to hear this because it'll finally.
She just rolled her eyes. She just did something.
I just was like, you're like mansplaining it. It's like we all three like re-explained it. Like the other person didn't explain it well enough.
So
I did the same thing. I did it to Lulu, and then you did it.
I'm going to
to
leave that go. I'm going to leave that go because it's a lot. It's a lot. So I'm going to, so I just think we should repeat things just in case people weren't listening the first or the second or the third or the fourth time. Are you tapping my head? So as usual, I guess we're saying our goodbyes.
Yes.
We
bye-bye.
love you. Thank you. What were we going to say?
No.
Yeah, that's it. Well, we love you. As usual, keep
Save
coming.
us, Brandon.
What about Brandon?
I said save us, like cut.
Yeah, get us off here. We love you. Bye.
Bye.
Wait, are we still recording?
We are.
We are.
That was okay. So wow, but I love us for this because
What
it's like,
is your problem?
No problem. I love this for us because it's like we have come to this place where we can laugh and joke and not like I don't know.
Like what?
Not be mad about it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I like it a lot. You have a lot of favorites on your phone.
Huh?
You have a lot of favorites. I only have 3 on the top.
No, what I do is
You can only fit 9, right?
No, I fit 9 because these are these are my reminders. These are the people that I always send gratitude lists to.
Oh.
Yeah, I have you up there.
Do you? Oh, you do.
I know.
Me.
I'm not your 9, but don't send it to me. I don't want it.
Yeah. I only have 3. I have at the CCC, which you're in. I have my Oculus group, so everyone I know who has an Oculus, and then I have all of my sponsees.
Yeah, no. Honestly, it's like I switch it up. I change it every now and then because a lot of times I have newcomers in.
That's really smart though, because
Yeah.
whenever I go to send gratitude lists, I have to look for everyone.
Yeah, no, I have to look, and then the ones that I don't have are the ones who we only send gratitude. You know, I send them I send a gratitude list when they send it. You know, it's like it's kind of a back and forth because I had to change that because it was this production. I was sending all these gratitude lists. It was too much work, and I was like, this is too much. And if I'm not careful, then I'll stop sending them out altogether.
You know what? I feel like there is a app opportunity in there. So because I use an app to do my 10 steps at night and my gratitude list at night. So there's an app for it. But I feel like one of the features that they should add is like a phone list that's attached to your gratitude list so that all you would do is hit a button and it would send out your gratitude list to all those people.
You know what I did with my gratitude list?
What?
I see it's already there. I made a gratitude like chat on Messenger for my family. I call it Cullen Gratitude, and it's been nice because they don't always send gratitude, but it's like we connect that way because I use my gratitude to stay in touch with people. You know, you know what's going on. You got a raw version of how.
I love that.
Yeah, so it's like
I do when I read them, I do feel like I'm getting a sense of like it's almost what I think people do with like Facebook. But I'll do it with like a gratitude list. Like I get a sense for what's going on in people's worlds.
absolutely. It's
Yeah,
like
which I really like.
it's like the
That I care about anyway.
It's like an edit.
There is an art to it though. I think sometimes
To the gratitude
yeah.
list?
Yeah, I have a little I don't like getting gratitude lists from people that I don't normally talk to. Like I don't like that the only thing I ever hear from them is a gratitude list.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why that just annoys me.
I feel that.
And then I think sometimes gratitude lists can feel like they're trying to get something from it, whether it's like, you know, whatever it is, whether it's sympathy or kudos or whatever, which is fine. It just feels a little, I don't
Disingenuous.
know, it just feels exactly.
The one aspect of my gratitude list that is for me, I included in there is for me, but it's the setting of the intentions part, and I tie that to my relationship and my understanding of the 4 agreements because all of the things, the intentions like kindness, I connect that with the first one, acceptance to the second, humility the third, and forgiveness to the fourth.
I love that.
And these are things that kind of like with your with my character defects or my character these are things that I'm always going to be working on. It's like, as much as I would like to say, and now I'm doing all these things perfectly, that's not the case.
I want to go back to something Bonnie Violet said, but she was just in mid-thought. What are you going to say?
No, go ahead. I just keep getting these text messages from the airlines. They don't know I got on the plane in San Francisco how many hours ago. It's like, board your plane. I don't know why, but anyway, go ahead.
You're like, on the topic of things that annoy me. So I do have some stuff around gratitude list too. So, whenever I feel okay, so there was this one person who would send me gratitude lists, and they would send me gratitude lists, but they would make it sound like they were in conversation with me. And what I noticed they were actually doing was they were copying and pasting dialogue and just changing names and things around. And I was like, did you literally, because they accidentally sent me something they said to someone else. And I felt very like, did you literally just copy and paste the conversation to me? And they were like, yeah. I was like, just don't talk to me. Like, if you have to copy and paste the conversation, just don't send it to me. That's how I feel about that. But I also don't like gratitude lists that are where I feel like they're like giving people shout outs. Like I will deliberately, you actually do that, huh? I will deliberately just use like the first letter of people's names.
No, I noticed that. I noticed that you do that. I don't include their last name, but there are times where I want to say them, and
yeah.
But I also, the thing that I've done,
what?
like I'll get these random gratitude lists or whatever, and I'm all thinking, am I that important that I can't just like accept it without any issue? Because I remember I used to have people say, please don't send me these lists. I'm all, you're that important?
Yeah.
Your life is that busy that you can't, like, sometimes, and this is amazing, I'll get a gratitude list from a sponsee early on, and it'll really cause me to be activated.
How so?
Yeah.
Activated in the sense where I'm all, okay, I wasn't going to do this now, but I'll get up and do it.
Oh, right.
So it's like I'm all, or activated like, oh, I'm looking at the things that they're practicing gratitude around, because sometimes it's like I was saying, it's like sometimes I need, I don't know if I've done this lately, but sometimes I'm just grateful that I don't suck like that person, or that I have a better person. I just have to keep it real with my gratitude so that I understand why I'm doing it. Because again, it can become so kind of methodical, kind of like a routine, like it's just, and I'm not getting anything from it. It's kind of like saying the prayers. If you're not understanding, if you don't have an understanding why, and it's just kind of routine. It's, they're going to work how they're going to work. But it's like, if I really think about what I'm saying and why I'm saying it and practice, it's all good.
But I think it's like with a lot of rituals and routine, it's not the same thing every day for you. You know what I mean? It's like, so it's like something that you do so that when you are actually in a shitty place or a bad place or whatever, you're still doing that thing, and it might actually benefit you then, versus the other times that it might piss you off or whatever. I know I feel like I don't have the greatest attitude toward gratitude lists. I think that's my own failing, probably. I have never really done them that much myself either. And so I think that's probably why. So I just kind of want to put that out there. I don't necessarily think it's one of my finer attributes, but
I was having a similar thought. My thing is like, I notice the things where I get gripped. And for me, it's a lot of it is around interpersonal stuff. So whenever I feel like someone is like treating me like an afterthought, like I get gripped by it. So
edit pen.
Yeah. Right. So like, for example, the copy and paste thing, but that's my shit, right? Like that person, I mean, another way of looking at it, that is a person who's just trying to connect. Right. And they're trying to, that's one way of looking at it. But the way like I interpreted that was like, I'm an afterthought. I'm not important enough to X, Y, and Z.
Well, maybe they were the one who was supposed to feel good for that. Like, you know what I mean?
No, what do you say?
Maybe it wasn't for you.
Right. Exactly. That there's so many different, I've been catching myself with a lot of that around interpersonal stuff. It's like, there literally are so many different ways of interpreting a situation. And my default setting is to interpret it in such a way where like I'm harming myself by the interpretation.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I've been doing it. I think I talked about, I've been doing a 4th step in SLA and an Al-Anon. And that's one of the things I noticed that I do is I sometimes have this like fucked up dialogue about myself before I'm even in a situation, and then I will superimpose that dialogue on a situation. right? So I'm essentially using people to hurt myself as opposed to like, no, that person's just doing them, and I'm having an experience.
Yeah. I'm feeling like I need to do an inventory again.
No,
I can start it for you.
But I think that
I'm sure you could. Do you want me to let me write yours?
You can always,
and then you write mine, and then
you can always do a mini 4-step. You can always do it.
A 10-step?
4-step. No, well, but I'm talking like really kind of chart it and break it down like a 4-step.
Yeah, I mean, you've done one before.
I've done many of them.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like I don't know that the fourth step, I've had a lot of great results from it, and most of the times I do them, I'm surprised by something, but I just haven't felt drawn to doing that as a way to solve my current challenge, for whatever reason. I don't know what that's about.
I went to a meeting yesterday similar to this. Girl. So I went to this meeting yesterday.
What's that?
What's a meeting? So I went to this meeting yesterday, and
sounded like Gollum.
And it was the first time that I had the experience listen to the message, not the mess, or like look for the similarities, not the differences, because this is someone who had like recently wronged me, apologized for wronging me. There was like a whole thing around it.
But you didn't accept the apology, huh?
I did accept the apology, but like sometimes you can't get it out of your central nervous system. Sometimes like the sting stays in there regardless of like what you're trying to do, right? And I know the nature of a resentment is like revisiting an idea such that like, you're not letting it go, and that is what makes something a resentment. And so while I was listening to this person, I was like, Anthony, you are going to focus so hard. You're going to listen to everything he says, and so I remember listening and making it like I was listening willfully. And I'm like, you're going to listen, you're going to find the message, you're going to find the message. And I noticed that by the end of his share, there was calm, there was serenity, and I didn't have that thing anymore. But it took so much energy to tell myself, nope, that's not the idea that we're going to cultivate right now. Nope, that's not the feeling we're going to give attention to right now. What we're going to do is we're going to focus right now on what this person is saying.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm giving away secrets, but you know how you can tell when somebody's having that experience in a meeting? They close their eyes. When the person's sharing, because they close their eyes, it's like, I'm going to listen. I'm just going to listen and whatever, and I'm going to try not to. And it has changed. Like hearing somebody share, for the meeting, it has kind of changed how I am with them. You
close your eyes at meetings?
I don't close my eyes, but. Because again, even if my eyes were closed, you would know exactly what I'm thinking about the share. My face is very emotive. It's like I can't, as much as I would like to hide what I'm thinking, it's like I'm all, aside from bullying,
oh my God.
No. Honestly, it's like, it has been such a gift. That's the one thing that I definitely have been able to listen to. Listen, because it does not matter what I think. Because a common occurrence it's always happened. If I'm not dealing with someone, if I'm not good with someone, usually everybody else is good with that person, and I just look like I'm crazy. And so my higher power is saying, you need to get over this, okay? Because apparently you're holding on to something that don't need to be held on to.
And it's a choice. Yeah.
Exactly.
And
it says more about us than it does.
100%. My sponsor says what we don't change, we choose, right?
Yes, exactly. Give it back to the universe because it doesn't belong to you.
I hate that. Sobriety can be very hard. Emotional sobriety can be so difficult.
We did it.
We really did.
I'm saying we did it because it's like, I love you guys. It's just like we get to these important marker times, and then that's when the story gets deep. And
I know, right? That's when we go there.
Blah, 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 and another thing.
So we're really ending now. All right.
Are we?
So for folks who stayed for the extra cut, the EP.
Well, they're not staying. They're going to hear it in 5 months.
You know what I'm saying.
Our topic next week is social media.
Oh, social media is our next topic.
Is it helpful or harmful to disclose your sobriety and other struggles on social media?
I love that.
I
Anthony's going to have some stuff to talk about.
Oh, what happened? Somebody just texted me. I guess somebody else is listening, and they just texted me about it.
They're listening? How?
Well, they were saying, I feel so much anger. LOL. I think they were listening to us. Okay. We love you.
How are they listening to
Bye.
us?
Oh, wait. Are we no longer on?
No, we're
No,
we still are
we're
on.
just not live.
No, but
We're just being audio
that's
recorded.
right. But I mean earlier. Okay, we should just say bye. Brandon keeps waving.
Bye.
Bye.